Hi Photoshop friends, this is Roxy of CoppercurlsDesigns and I'll be showing you how to do some custom shadows today using Photoshop. Let's start with this button. First I'm going to go up to Styles. If your Styles panel isn't open, you can go to Window and down to Styles and make sure it's checked. I will begin by adding the basic drop shadow to my button, and then we're going to go in and customize it. Double click on that and it'll pull up your layer style window. The blend mode is set to multiply, and I'm going to change that to linear burn. Let's zoom in on our button here a bit. The color can be changed in this color swatch, and I am actually going to use what I have set for my foreground color, which is a brown 3E270E. If you want to change to a brown color, click OK. I'm going to set my distance, actually the 7 or 8 looks about right. Maybe a little further. Size about 8. For a button, that's about normal. My angle of my light, you can change it. 120 is usually where I like to use mine. You can use global light checked. Now I want to save this as a preset. So I'm going to click on New Style, and I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it Brown 9 Pixel. Make sure Include Layer Effects is checked, and click OK. Click OK. Now what that did, if you'll go up to your layers, your style panel, scroll all the way down to the bottom, it saved your preset right here. So let's go to our ribbon. Let's apply that preset just by clicking on it. It added it to my ribbon. Now in Photoshop, if you click on that corner, it brings up the warp tool. So you click your warp tool and you'll get handles that you can drag out. Oh, sorry. Let's back up here. The first thing I want to do before I go to warp my shadow is go over to your layers. Right here where it says drop shadow, right click to pull up a menu where it says create layer. What you don't want to do is right click up here in the title, because you won't get that choice from your menu. So right click right down here where it says drop shadow, create layer. It will throw your shadow onto its own layer. Be sure to choose that. Then go click your corner, click your warp tool. Now you can drag to distort that shadow as much as you want. So you can even click inside to drag it down. This way it looks like the end of the ribbon is lifted off the page. Now at this point you can also turn your opacity, your fill down, and what I meant to do when I created this shadow originally was change my fill to about 50%. Okay, let's do the string. Let's go ahead and apply that same brown 9 pixel shadow. Now that looks pretty good for a string laying flat on your paper. but we really want that string to have more dimension, like it's not exactly laying flat on the page. So right click on the shadow, create layer. Be sure to choose the shadow layer. Click your corner, click your warp tool, and let's pull that shadow out a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and lower my fill opacity back down to 50. Especially if you're using a light background. Oh, I just changed my opacity. You might want to turn your fill to 50%. You can change your opacity to 50%, but you don't want to do both of those. Okay, let's do our flower. Now I will go ahead and add my 9 pixel brown shadow, but you know that flower is lifted way off the page. So let's go in and edit the drop shadow. Okay, I'm going to go back and change that to 50% because that's what I want. My distance, let's give it a pretty good distance, and my size, we'll make it a little more blurry on the edges. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to save it as brown flower. Okay, now there's another thing I'm going to do to this shadow. Let's go ahead and put it on its own layer. I am going to use the Smudge Tool. Over here, you might have the Blur tool or the Sharpen tool selected. Be sure you're on the Smudge Tool. Let's zoom in. You can increase your brush size by using the right bracket key or decrease it with the left bracket key. Now what I want to do on this is just pull it down a little more. Make it a little more realistic. In fact, we're going to do this also to the ribbon shadow. Let's go zoom in on him a little bit. Tuck him back under just a little right there. Okay, last of all, let's do these stitches. They are extremely close to the paper, so they're going to need a very small shadow. Let's go pick our same shadow. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Stitches. There we go. Let's pick that shadow, that same style. You can see how it's lifted way too far off the paper. So we'll go in and set you to maybe a distance of 1. We'll try size of 1. Let's try size of 2. Distance of 2, size of 2. Maybe size of 3. That looks pretty good. Okay, opacity back down to 50. Maybe I'll change my size back to 2. Okay, I want to save that as a stitch shadow because I will continue to use this. brown stitches. Okay, and that is added to the bottom of my styles along with my flower shadow that I added. Now I'm not going to put that on a separate layer because it's going to stay close to my stitches. And you have some custom made shadows. Thanks for watching. This is Roxy of CoppercurlsDesigns.